So
Can't get over how good you look.
things are doing great.
Yeah.
What are you doing after the show? No, just a joke.
Home to my husband.
yeah, I'm just kidding.
But you know, we're on the air, so
Don't hit me.
It doesn't really matter what, because like, oh, never mind. Just
Anyway,
stop that. So where are you originally from, anyways?
I grew up outside of Detroit. I was born in Detroit.
Okay. How long did you live there?
Until college. I mean, I ran away
Okay.
from home, but when I was.
Did you have a good upbringing, stuff like
Yeah,
that?
no, it's kind of depressing how absolutely non-dysfunctional my family was. It was a great family. We all loved each other. We had a great time together, and we still remain really, really close. Those of us who are, it's just the three brothers now. But my parents never fought in front of us. I maybe heard one fight, and you know, when you get older, you realize, come on, they must have had more fights than one. You know, after but.
But maybe not, you know. Not everybody, you know. As long as they talk and air things.
I think they might. I think they must have. They must have had an agreement. I think. But anyway, it was just a great family. We were kind of rebellious. The kids. We grew up in a pretty wealthy community, and you know, we thought it was all phony, and you know how you think when you're 13, you know, oh, this is so phony. Who cares what shoes you wear, and who cares what kind of a car you drive? So my older brother and I my father said, you know, you kids can catch a bus right in that corner. It'll take you right to downtown Detroit.
Wow.
My brother John, I said, yeah, get me out of here. So we were kind of the. You know, we were like the rebellious kids, and I had a light show and a band and a poetry magazine when I was in high school.
Well, you know, that's what I was going to ask you. How old were you when you got involved in music?
I started my first band, I think, when I was 16, but I started playing with a band. I think I must have been about 15 when I started out in a jug band.
And did you play the harmonica back then? Or
Yes, no, that was. I never thought of playing an instrument until I saw this guy play harmonica on a blues song, and for some reason it just like struck this chord. You know, I had a radio show for 4 or 5 years and interviewed hundreds of blues people, and each one of them, you know, John Lee Hooker, Greg Allman, Bonnie Raitt, Dr. John, they all had. They all, Coco Taylor, they all told me when they were young, the one thing that happened when they realized it. So I think for blues musicians, there's just this thing because it's
something you knew.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like rock musicians, I think, you know, maybe they just see a band and go, wow, wouldn't that be cool, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Wear those clothes and get the girls, you know, and, you know, get the girls and all that stuff. You know, so it's like, you know, wow, you know, let's, you know, but blues is such a specific type of music, or that there's this moment that you feel it in your soul.
Okay, so
it's not like you don't say to yourself, "I want to play music." You say to yourself, "I want to play blues."
Yeah.
You know, it's.
So you want to play blues. You want to play blues, but you went to college and you were an English major. What was that all about?
Well, you know, I did enjoy school. You know, I had a teacher in 9th grade who taught me what a cool buzz you could get from learning. You know, like, wow, you know, when you can assimilate stuff and you know, see what an author is trying to say, or read some philosophy and kind of, you know, read some Hegel and understand what the dialectic is all about, that kind of thing. You know, so and you know, the community I grew up, everyone got a college degree anyway, so I just went and got one. But I picked Boston because of the music scene. I got accepted to a few colleges, but you know, Boston then had the Club 47, Psychedelic Supermarket, of course the Jazz Workshop in Paul's Mall. I mean, you know, the best clubs in the history of the world, and the Catacombs. There was a great music scene, and all the musicians that I'd come to know and love were playing Boston on a regular basis.
Right.
So when I got accepted to BU, I said, that's it, you know, and actually, my first semester there, Skunk Baxter from the Doobie Brothers and Steely Dan, and he and I used to jam in the basement.
Boy, the stories
at Boston University.
You know, there's going to be some day that we have to sit down. I'm going to pull an all-nighter, and I'm going to pull every shred of your life out of you,
It's
on
been,
tape.
you know,
Good
when you
job.
look back, when you've been doing this as long as I have. I mean, there was one year I had lunch with the President of the United States one
Are
day.
you serious?
Well, Jimmy Carter.
Really?
He wasn't president. He wasn't president then, but he was running for office. He was running
Okay.
for the presidency. He became president. But anyways, I had lunch with Jimmy Carter one day, and 2 days later in the same week, I had lunch with the president of the Hells Angels. So, it's like
that's diverse.
yeah. I mean, that's the kind of business it is. But you do meet a lot of people, and and over the years, and
No,
it's
let's
good.
go. Let's go way back. Your first album. First time out, correct?
What a clever title, huh?
Yeah, really. And now your recent release, Bring It On Home.
Right.
What are the similarities between those two?
Well, I think, let me start with the last album. We purposely made that album to kind of reestablish me as a blues artist. If you're like Taj Mahal, if you're a black guy like Taj Mahal, and you put out an album that's got like a Caribbean feel on it, and a Delta feel on it, and a rock feel on it, and a funk feel on it, they say, well, look at that guy, he's exploring all the different ways that blues goes, he's a blues musician. But if you're a white guy and you do that, they say, what is he? He's kind of rock, he's kind of blues, he's kind of funk, he's kind of whatever. They don't understand that you're a blues musician that's just kind of exploring all the different permutations that blues has gone through.
Like that, funky but I'm clean thing.
Yeah. That should have been a huge hit. That should have been a huge hit.
That one. I really do like that one. It's a great song.
So the thing that would be similar, I think, is that that first album was definitely a blues-oriented album. It was steeped in blues, and subsequent records we kind of explored different. The one we did in New Orleans with Alan Toussaint had a lot of different kind of grooves on it and everything. So to me, the last album, Bring It On Home, and the reason we called it that is to kind of let's go back and let people in the world know that I am a blues musician.
That's why I asked what similarities I thought. But there was one common thread that I have noticed through every single, whether it's album or they call them CDs now, that you have ever released, or even watching.
I still call them records, by the way, but.
Don't date us too much.
Nah, yeah, they're records,
We're in a young industry.
Anyway.
Anyways, there is a common theme that goes through every single thing that you do, and I have noticed, and believe me, I have listened to every single song you've put out.
My goodness gracious.
And the common theme that I have...
You wonderful person, you.
The common thread would be the sense of strong heart that you have in each and every song, in each and everything that you do, because what I have noticed is you give 100%, and you can hear it coming directly from your heart, coming forward to touch the people. It's you, James.
Well, yeah,
and that's what I saw in the beginning, right up to this new release on Bring It On Home.
Well, thank you, and I think that's one of the qualities, or it's kind of the essence of being a blues musician, is that you always try and kind of bury yourself, or you try and reach that point where you can kind of identify with certain the pathos and all that stuff that we all go through, and you want to get to a point where you just let that go. It's like the Aristotelian cathartic principle, when Aristotle split from Plato, he came up with that stuff. But anyway, exactly. But anyway, so I think that's, to the extent that you're a blues musician, I think is the extent to which you can tap into that energy that you feel and experience when you're going through hard times, and eventually, when you kind of become one with it, if you will, how psychedelic is that? But if it kind of the release happens, and the bad experience isn't bad anymore. It's in the words of Aristotle, the catharsis has happened, and you've gotten it out of your soul.
Now you put out a lot of memorable songs that I remember. Funky but I'm Clean. I really like that one. In fact, I listened to it the other day, and I remembered it the same way I remembered it years ago. But I like Dimples. I honestly
Oh,
thought
yeah.
you wrote that about me. I did.
Ah.
That's how psychotic I am. I'm
Yeah.
so self-absorbed. And the
Yeah.
other one was
Well, it was a John Lee Hooker song, so which he wrote before you were born. So
Well, he was thinking about me.
he
Right?
was. So he had this
That's
vision.
it.
But I asked him about that. You know, I asked him. I said, Johnny, what's the story on Dimples? He says, well, you know, there was a girl.
Yeah. I knew it had to be.
Detroit, she had the dimples, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, he wrote it about a specific girl,
Isn't that funny?
and I think if I remember this correctly, years later, she got in touch with him again.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Isn't
one of
that
those stories.
cool?
Now I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that I did so many interviews, but I think that was
Yeah,
the.
because I remember,
the thing
being
on that.
on the television set with you years back, which we're going to show some of that tape.
Uh-oh.
And you started singing the Dimple song. I didn't know you were going to sing that, and I'm thinking he's doing that for me.
Yeah. Was that with Johnny A? Right? Was
Yeah,
it?
Johnny A was with us that day. It was great.
He just played guitar with us last week.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. And you know what song I like too? I like Back on My Knees, and I also like an old song called New England Sunshine.
I can't tell you how many requests did we get for that song.
My, I love that song.
You know, to show you how songs go through permutations. The original song was called "Girl in Love with Horses," and it was about.
Really? That's me.
It would-
Again, another one you wrote about
Well,
me.
yeah. But you know, it was about this really gorgeous high school girl, and all the guys in high school,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
wish that they could date her and stuff. But
Yeah.
as soon as she was done with class, she had a horse, and she just wanted to go out and ride the horse. You know. I mean, there's horse women and horse guys. You know. I mean,
I know.
but exactly. So you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly what you're talking about.
And it was like these guys wanted, so it was girl in love with horses, you know, but then it turned into New England Sunshine.
Oh,
But I
wow.
didn't actually write New England Sunshine.
You didn't.
That was just that melody that I had, and this guy Mark Barkin wrote it, who was a,
All right.
you know, and he took that little melody and put together a song. And and here again, the songs you're mentioning are the ones we get continually requests for. There was a time when we were slated to go out and do the Midnight Special, which was a big rock show, and everybody who was on that show became big. And our manager decided not to go ahead with that date and said, we'll be out in LA a month and a half from now. We'll do the show then. And if you look back at certain key decisions or whatever, if we'd have played that show then, because Steve Miller wanted us to open up for him on it, and it would have been us and Steve Miller on there.
Wow.
You know, and we decided to postpone that trip, even though it was just sitting there. You know, come out and do the show. We'd had to pay for it, but in those days we were making tons of money. But I was thinking the other day when I was watching, if we'd have played "Funky But I'm Clean" on there, I think that song would have hit.
I think so too, because
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was right in the groove
And
of
Peter
Coke.
Bell wrote that song, by the way, and just spoke with him recently. It's also in a film now called Fratelli Breaks
Really?
on the independent film festival circuit. So,
Okay.
so there's a lot of film festivals now where they're showing the documentary that I'm in with Morgan Freeman and Willie Nelson one night, and then they're showing Fratelli Breaks the next night. So I'm actually kind of in two films
That's
on the
great.
independent film festival circuit now. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about The Cause. I see on the website, The Cause. What is The Cause? What's that?
We've started this thing called the Debbie Blue Foundation,
Okay.
and we kind of started. We got a fast start out of the gate, and then we had some organizational issues, which are finally have finally been dealt with. So we're going to go full speed with again in the fall. But we have, I was president of the New England Blues Society for a while,
That's right.
and that was kind of an all-encompassing society. We had a newsletter, we put on festivals, and in the meantime, for me, it was important to try and start a healthcare program for blues musicians. And what happened is that group kind of went off into two directions. One, the Down Home Blues Society, which is great, Shirley Lewis and Short Day Billups and Hattie Barrett, and others who I'm not mentioning. But they're doing kind of the blues education and increase the presence of the blues and kind of make the blues more accessible and all that. And then for my part, I'm just concentrating on healthcare now. So we have a group of doctors, one of whom is physician in chief at Tufts University Medical, and chief of staff at Mount Sinai. I mean, we have really qualified people.
Now, is this is going to be free service for blues players?
Yeah, absolutely. It's already up and running, and we've been able to provide so far just about every blues musician that's presented with a health problem has been able to been taken care of at no charge. So
that's a great service.
Yeah, we're really gonna this fall. It's going to really grow by leaps and bounds. I found a person that really help do the nuts and bolts, and we're going to increase the amount of doctors and clinics we have available.
If there's any way I can help promote it.
That'd be great.
We can do whatever needs to be done.
In the fall, once we're going full speed, if we could do a show on that would be great.
Fun. Got it.
But so basically, the cause is to try and, of course, I do a lot of other benefits as well. I do probably about 15 benefits a year. And but the Debbie Blue Foundation, I think, is something I'm really going to concentrate on. It looks like we're going to get help from the Speaker of the House of the state of Connecticut, Jim Amon.
Awesome.
I talked to Sal DeMacy, who's a great guy, Speaker of the House in Massachusetts, and he wants to see what ways the state might be able to help. So we're going to go around to different legislatures around New England and really try and get some heavy hitters involved.
I wish you the best of luck with that.
Well, thanks.
I do have one thing to ask you though too. Now I know you played at Dan Aykroyd's 25th birthday party, and you just recently
and his
played
50th.
at the 50th.
Well, recently, I don't want to say how old.
because
I don't want to say how old Dan is, but it wasn't that recently that we did his 50th.
I'm a little upset you didn't call me, James, because you know what? I really think we could have teamed up and had a great time
Yeah.
that night. But
Yeah.
anyways, getting back to that. Now,
No, and I'll say this: Dan Aykroyd, I think, is there's you meet a lot of people in this business. To me, Dan Aykroyd is probably one of the sincerely nicest guys in the world. Jim Belushi's a guy who's always stepped up to the plate to help us out. Kid Rock is the sweetest guy you'll ever meet.
You guys had a great time, huh?
Yeah, it was good. The first year we had it up at his parents' farm up in Kingston.
Really?
And
wow.
So in the barn, I mean, Ringo was up there, and
No, Ringo Starr, right?
yeah, and
Ringo Starr. Can you believe this?
yeah, and
I'm gonna keep touching him. Maybe it'll rub off.
I hardly even met him, but George Harrison I did spend a few days with.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, so in the barn, it's like the whole Blues Brothers band, the Saturday Night Live horn section, my band,
Unreal.
members of the
What
Taylor,
history.
Alex Taylor, and some Taylor family members, and we're up there partying for a couple of days, because we were on tour. I had a band called the East Coast Funk Busters, James Montgomery, Alex Taylor, and the East Coast Funk Busters. It was the world's longest band name, and Dan Aykroyd joined that band, and Paul Schaefer joined that band. And then while we were up there, Donna used that as like a cover,
Right.
so that if Danny ran into some of his friends up there, like John Candy or Martin Short or Bill Murray, and me and Bill Murray, we're doing an interview here. Excuse me. But anyway,
was done before sound checks. That's okay.
yes, exactly. Hi, that's Seth Pappas, our drummer, right over there. Anyway.
Pick up the camera.
But anyway, so it was a huge band, and we had all these tour buses and everything, and then so Donna Dixon is Danny's wife. Donna pulls over 20 minutes away and says, "Well, let's pull over, and I need to get a Coca-Cola or whatever." And she calls, and all of a sudden, all this camouflage gear like they have in Vietnam comes over the tour buses, and all the picnicking stops, and we all run into the barn, and it's this killer band and all these huge celebrities, and we're in the barn.
Pictures of this. I hope you get pictures.
I think Danny's got videotapes of the whole thing, but so Bill Murray's walking around, and me and Bill Murray on jet skis was probably the highlight of the evening. But anyway, so Bill Murray's walking around, and he's going, hey, when he walks in, You know, because we got these party poppers and all this stuff in him. He says when he walks in, everybody go like this. Surprise. So
Get a whisper.
yeah. So Danny's there with his father. He says, "Hey, son," he says, "let me go show you the new lawnmower tractor I got in the barn." You know. Oh yeah, okay, sure, Dad. You know. So he opens up the barn. There's like 300 people in this huge band and the stage and lighting set up in there. And everyone goes, "Surprise."
He's going, what?
He was stunned. He was stunned at both of them, which was great.
Wow, that's
And the
awesome.
second one was his 50th. I mean, you know, everybody was there, you know.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing.
John Cusack, Roseanne Barr, Cher,
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
Did they really look that good? That's what I want to know.
Everybody looked great. Everybody
wanna
looked great.
know that.
If Vinny Panzienza was there too, and nobody dared tell them that he didn't look good. So no, but everybody looked great. And you know, the band was a little disappointed because Pamela Anderson was supposed to jump out of the cake, which was right in front of the band.
And she didn't get to
But
jump
she
out
didn't.
of the cake?
Something came up at the last minute, and she didn't make the party.
Aw.
But it was a great party, and one of the highlights of the evening, I might add. I was sitting with Steven Tyler and Peter Wolf.
I read all that, and I'm thinking, like, again, you didn't call me.
And then, but one of the highlights of the evening is when Sam Moore, who's like arguably the greatest singer alive today, started going back and forth with Valerie Simpson from Ashford and Simpson. And they were going back and forth, and then they get done, and Sam Moore. I mean, when we rehearsed with Sam Moore, when I was part of the Blues Brothers, after every single song in rehearsal, the band gave him a standing ovation in rehearsal. That's how good a singer is. So he goes, "Does anyone want a piece of this?" And Steven jumps up next to me. He goes, "I want a piece of this."
Sure
You know?
does. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Steven, do you realize what you're doing? You're going up there to sing with Sam Moore, the greatest singer on the planet." I mean, and Steven matched him note for note, and that's when it became extremely clear to me that he's the greatest singer in rock and roll. He really is.
That's great. Listen, we'll wrap it up because everyone's coming in and filtering in. What are your future plans?
We're working on a new CD now, which we're excited about. I think I mentioned earlier, we have Joey Kramer from Aerosmith
Right.
is on it, and Johnny Winter's playing on it. DMC from Run DMC. We're kind of rapping out a Bo Diddley number.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we're so disheartened to hear about Bo. You know, I was just so pleased and proud, privileged that I got a chance to play with Bo Diddley a half a dozen times before he passed. But anyway, and we have James Cotton on it, and so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're working on that. The documentary with Morgan Freeman is doing well.
Right.
It's like getting tremendously great reviews at all the festivals and selling out everywhere. The possible TV sitcom may spin off out of that, and so I want to continue with the charity work and do the Kramer Montgomery band for a little while with Joey Kramer from
I want to come
Aerosmith.
see you do that.
With that, yeah, we have the
I
Uptown
see
Horns,
that.
the Rolling Stones
really
horn
do.
section with that.
That'd be so cool.
So I mean, who are the two biggest bands in rock and roll? The Stones and Aerosmith, probably, right?
Yeah, now you got a combination.
So now we got the Stones horn section and a couple of guys from Aerosmith. So.
Cool. James, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much,
I wish
CC.
you the best.
Great to see you. Always great to see you.
Always great
And listen,
to see
I got to
you,
get
too.
the room number of the one at the Washington Inn, because I want to stay in that room. There's one room that's especially haunted.
It is Princess Caroline's room.
Is that what it is?
Princess Caroline's room. I did a whole show on that, and it is haunted.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust me.
No,
they say friendly spirits, and you know what? She is friendly, but you will have a thrill of your lifetime. But you have to come with me on a paranormal.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
We'll have a blast.
I would love to do. I love
I'll
that.
put you right on TV.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
so much
certain,
fun.
like I say, I stay in haunted rooms all the time.
Oh man, you love my house.
Yeah, okay. Well, good. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.